Hi everyone and welcome back. So this is my live stream and in this video we are going to talk about what should you learn in this quarantine period and what particular technologies you can focus on to get a particular job in the full stack technologies. So currently the thing is like we have a lot of technical stack, we have a JavaScript, Node.js, Python, Java and all these different stack. So where you can focus on for getting a job if you are a college graduate or if you're already working in some organization, then what else you can add in your particular skills. Okay, so we will cover all these different areas. I will not talk about in depth the path, a particular topic. Okay, you need to go through this, you need to go through that. But on high level, what particular technology you can focus on to get your next dream job or just add a new particular skill in your skill set which highlights your resume. Okay, so we have a different options. First of all, if we talk about the full stack world, here I will start with simple Java. I'm not a Java expert, but in Java there are many options. Now all the Java applications are built. The front end is being built with these modern JavaScript framework. Backend is obviously will be with the help of Spring Boot, Spring MVC architecture, Spring REST APIs. All these Spring frameworks is being used in the backend, and the rest is the BPM and stuff and all the backend thing where you are using the enterprise Java, J2EE, and Spring Core with the Maven and Gradle. So that is totally a different stack. But if you are good at Java, then what you can do is you can learn front end with these latest JavaScript framework because these are on the leading edge, you can say. So if consider that I'm not going to talk about any code here, I'm just talking about consider that you are already a Java developer. So what other options you have to learn? If you're a Java developer, you want to explore other things, then JavaScript is the best option. And if you're already Java developer, you want to stick to the Java backend, what you can do in this particular case is learn front end with JavaScript frameworks. So these JavaScript framework are like you can focus on React, you can focus on Angular, you can focus on Vue.js, whatever you think which you can pick very easily. Okay, so what it will help you is you already a Java developer, you can write your enterprise backends in Java. Enterprise backend means to say you can use either J2EE, you are writing services, or either you are using Spring Hibernate or Spring JPA, Spring JDBC. All these technologies you are already using and you are familiar with these MySQL, Oracle, all database stuff because you might be using this RDBMS or maybe a MongoDB with your Java backend. Now, next thing you can do is you can add on this particular skill of JavaScript there. In JavaScript, what you can do is you can learn, particularly if you wanted to quickly learn something, then React is one of the framework. Angular is the another one. And if you want to go 1 mile further, okay, I know Java, I have learned React, now I can write end-to-end with JavaScript application. I wanted to go beyond that and I want to learn something more. Then what you can do is you can go for React Native or Flutter. So React Native is currently popular in my language. So you can learn React Native. So what React Native will enable you to write your application in React, I mean in JavaScript, which can work on both your iOS and both Android. Right, so this is an advantage you are getting by writing a code in JavaScript, and you have already learned how to write code in JavaScript with the help of these modern JavaScript framework. You should not focus on like, okay, I should learn Angular, React, Vue.js. Just stick to one framework because you already Java developer, you might be writing the backend. So it's not like you can learn all the things together. Okay, you focus on one thing, either Angular. So Angular currently we have 10.x and it will keep increasing. The fundamentals are same like Angular 5, 6, 7, 10 version, 10th version now we are having. Okay, what else you can do? So here I am talking about you are a Java developer. This is your profile, right? So these all things you can add. And if you want to go beyond that, you also wanted to add on something. Now you know the JavaScript. Okay, I can write backend in JavaScript also. Then this is the good choice for you. You can learn Node.js. In Node.js, you can just work with these different database, MySQL or Postgres or MongoDB. Okay, so these different ORMs or framework will help you to understand different aspects. Okay, you know Node.js, now you can write REST APIs. MySQL, there are different ORMs available, like you have a Hibernate. Similarly, we have a type ORM, SQLize in JavaScript to connect to MySQL, or Mongoose module to connect to MongoDB and do all the query operations. Okay, so JavaScript is also like now very matured in terms of if we talk about what all we are doing in JavaScript. Okay, so it's not like now JavaScript is sitting in the corner and doing a lot of things. Now with the help of JavaScript also, we can actually do n number of different things. You can write your front-end application, you end-to-end your back-end application, every possible thing you can achieve through JavaScript, right? You can even write the enterprise BPM and with JavaScript. Okay, you can write microservices in your production environment with the help of Node.js. You might already aware that Node.js microservices are popular, same as microservices which are built with Java and Spring Boot. Okay, this is when you are a Java developer. Now we can also think about other things, like if you are a JS developer, you're already writing JavaScript. Okay, and what else you can add on to your skills? JavaScript developer, then there might be a perception, okay, I know only front end and I'm writing only React.js or Angular. Right, so it's not like if you are a purely JavaScript developer, then you should be a full stack in everything. Whatever is in the JavaScript, you should be able to do that. So you should be a full stack in JavaScript. Full stack means if you know the React, then you should also know something in JavaScript to write backend. Either you can talk about Nest.js, you can talk about Express, Koa, Happy, any other framework to write your REST API backend. And Nest.js is now becoming very much popular because it is providing everything which you are exploring from different modules. So these framework you can use to write your API backend. API backend, and you should always try that you can you include the TypeScript here, because now you are a JavaScript developer and TypeScript is actually a current need. So you have to add TypeScript in your Node.js application, or either whatever you are writing, either it is a Nest.js or Node.js. Nest.js is already built on top of TypeScript behavior. So if you're writing Express, you always try to include TypeScript with it. Okay, and for database, you can also already use, you can use MySQL, Postgres, MongoDB and all. And for all the other middlewares, like you can use Redis, MySQL, other services like Redis, RabbitMQ, Kafka, all have a good pluggability with Node.js APIs, because every other services are providing their client libraries to access the RabbitMQ, Kafka, Redis, MySQL, because Node.js is now mature enough. It has a very good community support. A lot of things has already built in. A lot of production applications are running on Node.js, right? So Node.js is very good candidate to write your backend. And if you're a JavaScript developer writing currently front end, then it's time to learn backend. Start with Node.js, then with Nest.js, and then write your own backend. And that is good, right? So you now you know front end, now you know back end. And if you're a JavaScript developer, other opportunity for you to learn how to write mobile apps using React Native. Okay, or you can use Flutter, which is a framework which is a technology provided by Google, but this is a little bit different than the JavaScript we are writing. So React Native is very popular candidate to write your mobile application. What it is enabling you to write end-to-end mobile application that can run on iOS and Android, right? Here you are writing the front-end application which is running on the web. Okay, now you are running something which is running on the mobile. There are other things also like Electron and all, but I will say there is not a big market for Electron right now. to write native desktop applications. So you can stick to this, like we have Slack application, VS Code, these are built on Electron. So only production applications which are popular are built on, but the normal application, normal development application, we are still stick to either web or either native applications. Okay, and coming back here, so this is you are a JavaScript developer and you are working on some organization, then you should focus on all these things. And extending to this, like I'm a Node.js developer writing backend, so you should also learn how to write microservices, the microservice pattern, right? How you can write a different kind of architecture, and you can deploy your application on different stack, either AWS infra or Azure infra. You should learn how you can actually split your logic into multiple microservices and also micro front ends. Okay, that is another thing which you can learn. This is all about like when you are already working in some enterprise and also working on JavaScript. Okay, if you are already a Python developer writing code in Python using Django and all these things, then it just, if you are good with Python, you have enough content to learn in Python, then you can stick to there. But currently, if you just talk about the whole structure of technologies which are getting popular, JavaScript is always on top. So learning JavaScript is never going to harm you. You can start with very basics. If you are a Python backend developer, doesn't know anything about front end, start with HTML5, CSS, then you just move to write how to write SCSS, and then write your web apps. With any of the framework, you can start with React. I will suggest React because React.js is quick to learn, and when you learn React.js, you get a good feeling, okay, I can do this. I can learn front end. Okay, I can actually write a front end application also. Then once you're interested in writing the React.js, you always get started writing front end, and then you start exploring Node.js, and you totally maybe transition to the front end and back end stuff, full stack thing in JavaScript, or you will learn it and you will just add this in your skill set. Okay, but for all these things, if you're a JavaScript developer, you started directly with React or Angular, that is not going to help. Always understand the core concepts of JavaScript. That is primary thing before doing anything in JavaScript. So there are good books like You Don't Know JS, or there are good concepts, good books are available which are talking about the core aspects of JavaScript, which will help you to understand each and everything. JavaScript is not that simple that okay, you are creating object, function, classes, simple, but you will get to know what is happening in background, what is happening when you are creating the constructor of a function, what is happening when you are creating the object, how you can create the shallow copy, deep copy, what are the basic fundamentals of ES5, ES6, ES7. These are actually different versions of JavaScript which are in the market. ES6, ES7, ES8, right? These are coming up, and we are using Babel to just make that code compatible with our project. So currently, if you know, ES5 is currently supported by browsers, ES6 is in the transition phase. So latest features are being released in JavaScript. And in terms of powerful and in terms of the capacity and the strength, JavaScript can also be a good competitor with any other programming language. I mean, JavaScript is not designed into that way, but when you use JavaScript with the TypeScript, you can do anything with that because now you have added a typings with your JavaScript code. Okay, so learning JavaScript is never going to harm you. It is only going to add on skills. And when you move or transition to JavaScript, there is a big stack of technologies which you can learn and can get job quickly. If you are not onto a particular job, you are looking for it, then JavaScript is the right choice. You can start with small and you can go big. It's not like if you're learning JavaScript, you can't move to Java and enterprise Java, or writing enterprise applications in these big frameworks provided by Java. Okay, but these are few things. If you keep that in mind, then your life can change. If you are already stuck with the Java big framework, which are actually some organizations are already using, I will not name it, but Java is like full of big frameworks provided by IBM, Oracle, and people stick to those technologies. They are not moving forward. Then you can move to this open source world of JavaScript and explore all these things. whatever you are building with the drag and drop and the complete business process, that can be built with these JavaScript also. Okay, JavaScript is full of variety of technologies, and you can see JavaScript is growing. I will not say that JavaScript is going to explode one day, because we are having a lot of new things like Deno.js is there, Node.js is there. Everybody is like putting their own libraries and releasing their own stack. But there are few things which are very good, which you can learn and you can build your career on top of it. If you are good at writing the mobile apps, you like writing, that React Native is a good candidate. If you are already a Java developer, you want to learn something, start with React, then Angular. If you already understand the complex things, then Angular is the first framework which you should go, because React is slightly simpler in terms of Angular. If you can understand Angular in JavaScript, you can understand anything. And if you understand Angular, you know the TypeScript, you know the JavaScript. So things will be very good at your end if you do all those things. Okay. Now this is all about when you are already working in some enterprise and you wanted to just write few apps. Okay. What if you are just a student or college graduates and looking for a job? Then if you're looking immediately, then JavaScript is a good candidate. You can just follow the same stack. This is also applied to a college graduate who is going to graduate in just recent years like 2020 or 2021. Then you can just start learning JavaScript. What you need to know is you need to be a full stack, where you can write front end, where you can write back end, full front end in any of the framework, React, Angular, and back end in Nest.js, Node.js, Koa, Hapi, Restify. You should be able to talk to database like MySQL, MongoDB, or any other database. You should be able to write a custom middleware. You should be able to understand how you deploy your front-end applications to these open source platform, maybe a Netlify, maybe DigitalOcean, maybe AWS, Azure, and how we are actually deploying the application in Node.js. Node.js we are using for either server-side rendering or either using REST APIs with these different framework, right? So that will be enough to get you a basic job, which may be a with intern or the junior position. After that, you can start exploring the React Native, TypeScript, these type ORMs, SQLize, to make yourself strong in the technology part of Node.js. Node.js best practices to write the APIs, which are very good at production. Okay, you can start building small applications which are full stack shopping cart application, Flipkart clone, this Netflix clone, simple weather application in React, backend is in Node.js, blog application front end is in React or Angular, and backend is in Node.js. So start writing the full stack application so that you will get a whole picture, because JavaScript is very big and it has millions of libraries. You will get confused. Okay, you should use this or that for applying a style, for doing a design. Like I wanted to create some kind of a dashboard. If you just Google it on the GitHub, you will get a different libraries available to build a dashboard. React Bootstrap or React Strap, right? Kendo UI, AJ Grid. So a lot of charting libraries, grid libraries are available, which you can consume and use it in your application. So if you're a college graduate and you wanted to learn quickly, then these are the aspects which you can explore. So always go with the core JavaScript, then HTML, CSS, then SS, then Flexbox here. Flexbox means this is actually used for designing the UIs with the Flexbox or CSS grid. Then you can write simple web applications in the HTML5, and then you can start using some framework. Before that, these things come into the picture. You should learn JavaScript in depth. Okay, then you can move to the React.js and understand the HTML5 core APIs, how to make an API, how to access local storage, how the browser is working. All these things will come into the picture. That is actually a computer science fundamentals, which you should already be aware of. Okay, so this live stream, I'm just going to talk about only these things. I'm not talking about any coding and all. But on my YouTube channel, if you wanted to know all these aspects, I am already covering all these things. React end-to-end playlist with 30 hours of course, Node.js crash course, Docker. This is the Nest.js which can help you to write backend. Here I'm talking about Nest.js end-to-end. I'm talking about GraphQL. I'm talking about full stack application development, some HTML5 tutorials, and the JavaScript interview questions. If you are, you'll have learned JavaScript now. You wanted to get into the interview mode when you wanted to test your knowledge, then this is the right one. There are enough interview questions available. GraphQL, you can leave it for now, but you can also talk about how MySQL is getting connections with Node.js, either with these different ORMs, type ORM, SQLize and all. So all these playlists are available. You can learn Angular, you can learn end-to-end JavaScript, 100 videos, crash course covering everything, a quality content. Then you can look at the Node.js top 50 interview questions. And TypeScript, what is TypeScript, why it is popular, why you should use TypeScript with the JavaScript to write your code, either React, either Angular, either backend in the Node.js with TypeScript, or Nest.js is already using TypeScript. Some intermediate and advanced level Node.js course, some Node.js crash course which I recently published. Okay, so these things you can explore, and if you have some comment for me that I should cover this or that, just ping me on this video on the comment. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. It's nice for the interaction. I will keep doing these streamings for the code level also in the future.